Welcome back to our channel, my dear family and friends. It looks like I remember to actually plug my microphone in? Yes, I did. What do you know?
Don't forget to unblock the guy.
What guy?
GMC from
GMC
Rumble.
from Rumble. Okay. I'll try to get to that. I blocked GMC on Rumble, so I have to undo that. But anyway, it's great to see you guys. Hope you had a wonderful day. We had a good day. We worked hard doing a lot of little things. I didn't really do any big projects like putting in a window or anything like that. It's more of a major adventure, but we were just kind of like sealing up holes, and we put in a new clothesline, which is very exciting. Hey, Jeffrey Lloyd, Zenjamin, good to see you guys. And what else? Yeah, we didn't go anywhere, which I am always thankful for. That's to me, that's if I'm home, it's a good day. It's just like I like going out, but not that much. But yeah, it was really swell. We had let's see, we had a nice. We had some leftover from yesterday. And by the way, here's an interesting thing that I learned from my friend Nachum. And I think this is he was in the food business, and I think this is a relevant piece of information. He talks about the formation of histamines on food that's left out. So I told him that when we want to eat something, we defrost something, we leave it out on the counter all night to defrost. He said that's not the way to do it. He said that basically food should be kept refrigerated or frozen, or it should be warmed to eat. So, in other words, he said, if you want to eat, eat a roast or eat a steak tomorrow or the next day, you would take the steak out of the freezer and put it in the refrigerator, not leave it on the counter, or put it under water so you would quickly thaw it out. And then if you have leftovers, you should not just stick them in the refrigerator, you should freeze the leftovers. This is information that I he told me this before, and I was kind of like, yeah, you don't really understand what it's like for us. And but he was in the food business, so I'm listening to him now, and I think the food is better. Appreciate good clothes on. Yeah, yeah, so does Daniela. She really likes it. So I took these massive cedar posts and dug about 2 feet in the ground, put them down, and used the bigger the boulders that you put around these cedar posts, the more secure it stays. So yeah, I was moving my little storage trailer around, trying to get it into position. Isn't quite perfect, but it's better than it was. And then, surprise was surprise. So we had leftovers for our first meal. We don't usually have like a big second meal, but I sort of pushed the envelope, man. I mean, because like Danielle likes pretty like simple stuff. She said, I really want to have poached eggs. I said, and I thought to myself about, the idea of poaching eggs in water doesn't really, it doesn't do it for me. So I said, why don't we make shakshuka? I think it's called shakshuka, which is like an Israeli dish, shashuka, yeah, that basically you're poaching eggs in tomato sauce, and she never goes for tomato sauce, but somehow she was willing to have a little bit, and then I even convinced her that I was going to have pasta, and she's very anti-pasta. It's not something we would normally, but it was a really nice change of eating, and I feel fuller than usual because I had a lot of pasta, and it's an unusual and not an unpleasant feeling. Poached eggs on toast, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, good to see you guys. Yeah, I appreciate a good clothesline. Right, Barbara Bliss, cool name, man. Nancy Jonte, Zenjamin, Debbie, great to see you, and thank you so much for being here, for coming to the channel. I'm in shock of shock. We had 50,000 people watching
Oh,
us live.
over.
Over 50,000. I was just like, what happened? Well, I mean, I'm so used to being canceled and everything else. By the way, I looked on one of my channels, and I just got a note from YouTube saying that they weren't going to let me have my channel back because I, I defied their community standards, whatever. That's another YouTube channel, one of the many that were lost during the years of struggle. Really, we struggled so hard to figure out what was going on. And I think tonight, what I think I want to focus on is that I had a doctor. I had a doctor back in the day, the doctors came to your house. They did house calls, and they were kind of like your buddies. They were like. So I had this doctor who was like really like just. I thought he was the coolest of the cool, and he would he would always give me when we had shots. They gave us a lot of shots, probably not like they do today, but we had shots, and he would always like distract me with something. He would say something, and then the next thing it was over, without me really even noticing that. It happened so fast that he distracted me. He did the deed, and it was done. You want to buy your songs but don't want to subscribe monthly to. No, you don't have to go to Spotify. You can go on. I put my songs on X. I put my songs on Rumble, and I think I put my songs on YouTube. I'll check that. But yeah, I don't. You don't have to go. Whatever. I mean, they're all. I try. I put one song on Spotify. I think "Language of the Heart." Maybe the second song. What was the second song? The second song was New Morning. I think I tried, but there was so much like, oh my God, I went through I give up on, eventually they wear me down with this, you have to change your password and what's your, and I'm just like, I've been through this with you guys. We've been doing this over and over again. And I'm just like, I'm not doing this anymore. I just give up. This is all going away, but I want to tell the story about Dr. Schifrin because he was kind of like a hero when I was growing up, but he would distract us and then give us a shot. And before you had time to really like freak out about the fact that this guy was going to stick a needle in your arm, it was done. You didn't have time to think about it. I mean, my father was a dentist, and he always said, the fear of pain is worse than the pain itself. I mean, easy for him to say he's the guy with the drill, but you know, and it didn't sink in. I was a terrible patient until I became a little bit older, and my father, I don't, my father, whatever. But the idea that we were distracted, and then the thing was done. That is, I think, what's happened here. Um, Love to have those MP3s. What does that mean? I don't even know what that means. But is it not okay to go? Can you the YouTube the video the songs that I have on Rumble and YouTube are pretty good. I think they're like pretty good quality. Hey, from Texas, Sandra Academy Wallader, nice. Um, Yeah, so the idea of being distracted, I wanna own the songs to play over and over in my playlist. Okay, so I don't know how that happens, but, I mean, if I could figure out, I'll just, send me an email. I'll send you a copy. I mean, I think I could send you an MP. You want an MP3. I think I can do that. But, yes, so while while you and I and everybody else in the community, let's say, in the Q community, in the in the Great Awakening community, while we were all like worried about when the EBS was coming and 6 o'clock can be dangerous, it's going to be 6 o'clock. He's doing something at 6 o'clock next, President Trump.
No, that's when the doors open.
That's when the doors open.
Yeah, he's not speaking at 6.
He's not speaking at 6, but that's when the doors open. 6 o'clock. You know, we've been waiting for all these things to, you know, my fellow Americans, the storm is upon us. All these things that we've been waiting for, and we've been decoding Q posts. Danielle and I have been watching all the required movies that Q wanted for us, like White Squall and Godfather 3, and you know we did our homework. The Sum of All Fears, Red October. While we were so involved in trying to figure out what was real, what was going to happen, and President Trump, every time he spoke, I was like, okay, this is the time he's gonna let it launch. No, it didn't happen. It hasn't happened, and I don't think it ever will. And while you and I were waiting for, while Dr. Schifrin was talking to you about something pretty cool, it's done. What do I mean by that? I chose the title for tonight's video to be Back to the Future. What I mean, let's hang Surprise, Arizona. Let's hang. You're in Surprise, Arizona. I just met somebody from Surprise. That's amazing. Where did I meet? I met him at the petrol station. I was standing in line with this handsome dude, and I just started. I think it was a man, yeah, and and he said, you know, he's going home. It was after a holiday weekend, and he was going home to Surprise, Arizona. I was like, well, where is that? And he told me, and so I guess I agree. He likes to create cliffhangers, right? So all the pundits are saying that he fooled the mainstream media. All the mainstream media were expecting him to come out and announce that there was a war about to start with Venezuela. Kind of like Wag the Dog, you know. And Armenia. That's interesting because in Wag the Dog, wasn't it Armenia? Was it Armenia? I think so. They were declaring war against the United States. I mean, this was, you know, it was just a farce to say how Hollywood and politics, how it's all a movie, and it was done by a movie producer, which is probably, you know, like Rob Reiner with this Red Castle, the you know, the production of the inauguration in a fake White House and all this other stuff. But while we were busy trying to figure things out, Trump got the job done. I just saw a video from 107, and 107 said a couple of years ago, Trump said something to the effect that you have to, that he said to the governors, I suppose. I think it was the governors, that you have to divulge, you have to give us your voter rolls. You have to, and they ignored him. And now 107 said they're all going to Gitmo because he was under military. It was a military operation. This is a military operation, and they basically defied the military, and this is treason, and they're all going to Gitmo. So this is another sting operation of the many. The whole thing is really a big sting operation. But the point is that while you and I, diligent followers of Q, diligent followers of the Great Awakening, people who were trying to figure out what the heck is going on here, he got the job done. So 107 says he got all the governors. It seems to me that there's no way the government will ever be used again. The way the government that we're used to, it's gone. it's not coming back. It has been gone for a long time. There's no way that these people are really operating, that Chuck Schumer is really, he's really alive, and he's, Nancy Pelosi's still in her kitchen eating 15 different types of exotic ice creams that she scammed out of the world. It's just not possible. They're all, it seems to me that they're all hanging. Love and blessings. Thanks. Thanks, Sunshine. Sunshine Girl. I appreciate it. Castle Rock, right? No, no. Yeah, Nachum. I don't know if you heard, but I just told you a story about the refrigeration, and now we're really following it. We freeze our things. It's not that much harder. It's really good advice. I pass it on to the community. Been following Q since started in 2017. Yeah, I think I have been too. I'm not exactly sure when the date was that I discovered Q, but it was back then, and we've been following it and getting all psyched up about it's coming. And while we've been so busy trying to figure out what's really happening, it happened since it started. Yeah. Hey Trinity, as on it. Yeah, acting. Yes, Q was in it until 2004. Cool. Yeah, I think so, Norm. It's good, very good information. The news is mostly disinformation. Yeah, exactly. So here's what I'm saying. Like Dr. Schiffer, my boyhood doctor, and by the way, he would not let me live this down. He, back in the day, back in the I guess in the 60s, when you're growing up in the 60s, you didn't stay home. You were never home. We were always roaming around the neighborhood doing weird stuff. You're getting into all kinds of cool stuff, all kinds of cool trouble. But he would not let me live down. Like for example, I don't know if I want to examine my criminal past, but as a juvenile, but fireworks, whatever we could get into, spin the bottle, this kind of stuff. It's just like we were kids. So he would never let me live down that he claims, I can't verify it, but he claims that he once saw me beating up like a kid that was much bigger than me. Now all I remember is getting beat up all the time. So I don't, maybe, he was, I don't know, he was trying to make nice to me, but we did get in a lot of fights in those days. We were very physical, and it was not unheard of for me to end up in a headlock at the bus stop waiting to go to school. I had this one guy. It was somehow they always pinned him. They always put him against me. He was just like a little bigger, a little huskier, and he could beat me, senseless with it. But I don't know if I put up I guess I put, I don't know, I don't remember these things. But Dr. Schifrin claims that he was driving around the neighborhood and he saw me beating up some big kid. I don't know if it's true. Whatever. Anyway, that was Dr. Schiffer. But what I'm saying is that while we've all been waiting and we've all been using our intellect to figure out what's really going on, they've been doing it. And what do I use as an example? I don't know if let me see if I can find this. Let's see. Yeah, let's see if I posted this. Let's see if I was. There was a post. Let's see if I could find it. Um, Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe I didn't post it. But the post. That's not. I guess not. Okay, so sharing. So the post said that while we've all been busy, President Trump and the energy people have established something like 2,000 new electric, like advanced electric generating stations. So it's kind of like while we were busy thinking about things, they were quietly reshaping the world in that way, in the way that like Tomorrowland. Like we're coming into Tomorrowland. We're coming into the the fulfillment of the, I think it was 1963 World's Fair, where it was like, it's a happy world after all, whatever it was. But in 1963, and like in Tomorrowland, we went to the World's Fair and we had the idea that like very soon we were going to be like the Jetsons and everything was going to. But I think, and Elon has said, I think today he put out a post saying that AI is going to take over the rough jobs, and we're all going to be well taken care of. That the guaranteed income will be quite generous, and we'll all be able to do whatever we want, and we'll be enjoying a world without. Now, okay, so how do we rectify that? How do I rectify that with seeing chemtrails today? I mean, they were knocking themselves out. There were chemtrails after chemtrails after chemtrails. This layer was done, and then they did this layer, and then they put a couple for good measure. And I'm just like, what are these fiends doing? Why isn't the government protecting us? So, and it's the same thing with the banks, with the cryptos going down and the stock market going up, and it's just like it just it seems so non-connected to the idea that, so what I'm saying, I guess, is that both things are going on at the same time, that we're quietly going into the future, we're quietly going back to the future, and at the same time the creeps are trying to hold on to whatever dastardly, insane deeds they can pull off. 1963 Tomorrowland, yeah. I saw they were saying that they were reopening 3 Mile Island for power generation in 2028. That is interesting. Chemtrails, yeah, the money, yeah, they must be making money off the chemtrails. Chemtrails are banned in, yeah, in states like Tennessee, but that doesn't stop them from doing it. They've been banned in Tennessee for a long time. My parents in Tennessee are always saying they're still doing the chemtrails. It's like these people are above any kind of natural or any kind of law. They're above. CT looked like a checkerboard in the sky today over Florida. Yeah, yeah, the chemtrails. Yeah, Tennessee is a prime example. Arizona, I don't know what the hell is wrong with these people. I don't know why the government isn't protecting us. It doesn't make any sense to me. But I assume that soon we will find out what's been going on. It's just outrageous. At the same time, you have RFK Jr. today came out against the sex change people. He called them. He said this is malpractice. He really called them out on it. And President Trump rescheduled the marijuana laws. A lot of things are happening, but for us, it just seems like window dressing compared to the things that really need to be addressed. And the chemtrails are one of those things that just drives me bonkers. Hobbs was involved in Arizona, right? There was some kind of a scandal today. There was a child trafficking. Is it? Oh yeah, CT is child trafficking, or it could be chemtrails too. Child trafficking and chemtrails. Yeah, she's a dastardly. They're not coming back. They are not coming back. That's what I've really come to understand. I'm going to play you a clip from the president of the republic, and remember, the republic is the republic, you remember. Here, let's put up the contact information so you can. Those of you who haven't joined the republic could, if you like. You're invited to join. All you have to do is go to this site. Add your name and tell them if whether or not you're willing to do a voluntary job, or you're willing to work for them, or you want a position. uh, the word is that the they have been operating since 2008, and the White Hat said that when you get up to 50,000 people per state, we will start Jasara. So I said last night that anybody who wants to know when the Great Awakening is going to happen already, all you have to do is be one of the 50,000 people in your state that support the Republic or volunteer to participate with the Republic, and you'll be back to the future. You'll be pushing things along. Okay, so let me play this clip from the president. I'll take this off. Let's see.
My fellow Americans, we are all witnesses to a travesty of justice created by the cunning, ambitious, and unprincipled men that George Washington, President Washington, warned us about in his farewell address. Our eyes have been opened to see in full daylight the enemy relentlessly working to destroy our nation from within. Who among us is not aware that something is seriously wrong with the current U.S. government? For sure, Donald J. Trump has been viciously abused by a so-called justice system. As the President of the Republic for the United States of America, I, James Buchanan Geiger, urge the American people to remain calm during this difficult period. I am advocating that all Americans come together to provide a peaceful resolution to this miscarriage of justice, not only for Donald J. Trump, but for all humanity suffering under this cruel regime. The question is, what can we do about this injustice? Well, the answer is twofold. One is to continue supporting Donald J. Trump, and the other is for you to get fully involved in restoring a republic form of government for America. There have been numerous calls to restore the American Republic. The good news is that patriotic Americans already reseated the Republic in 2010. And that Republic, one nation under God, has been standing by, ready to perform its duties as the interim government on behalf of the American people. For the past 13 years, your republic has been preparing for this moment by teaching people about the Constitution and the republic that our founding fathers gave us. I urge everyone to go to our website, republicfortheunitedstatesofamerica.org, and watch the educational videos and read the historical documents. You can also get updates from the Republic's numerous social media accounts. Search for hashtag #ReinhabitTheRepublic to find and follow these accounts. If you want to take a really deep dive, read the 2-volume book series entitled Re-Inhabited by Gene and David Hertler to learn the true history of America and the story of the reseating of the Republic. The Republic is where your voice can be heard. There are at least 250 million Americans that are looking for solutions. Please join your Republic in its efforts to restore America without the cunning and ambitious and unprincipled men in order to ensure freedom, liberty, and justice for all. God bless America, and God bless the Republic.
Republic for the United States of America. Okay, let me just. Yeah, I got that clip from Nancy. Nancy sent it to me. Nancy Singletary, and I thought I would pass that on to you guys. I think it's a very impressive reminder that this government. I don't think we're going to go back. We're going to go back to the way things are. I think we're going to be coming into a new world where people will be valued for their wisdom, for their kindness, for their humility, for their um, the word escapes me, for their for just being a person, for just being like a nice person, instead of valued for how much money you have, what kind of car you drive, or all these. I mean, these people are sick. That's what Q said over and over again. They are sick, but it's very hard for a normal person to wrap their minds around the fact that the world is run by a bunch of criminals, really criminals. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, thank you for receiving. Begged, I don't know. I don't give up. I stay positive. Someone said it's coming out of the sky. Think someone said it coming out of the sky. Would you forward that clip to me, please? I could, sure. I'll try to do that. Let's see. Do you guys want that? Let me just see what. Let me see if I can put you. You want the web address? I can give you. Well, let's see if I could do that now. Let me just see. Oh no, it's too complicated. It was from TikTok though. But yeah, you'll if somebody wants it, you'll have to send me an email, and I'll send you the link. But even better, just to join the Republic. I think it's going to be really worthwhile. I had like I said, I had a nice conversation with the governor of Arizona. I mean, just
For Arizona.
for Arizona. I'm sorry, the governor for Arizona. Danielle is very good at details. I mean, she really she notices everything. So I can't really get away with it. She's like she doesn't buy that. She's got to know it's got to be on the money. So that's why I was really surprised that she had shashuka. Uh, Nachum, you have shashuka lately? I mean, we sort of broke our norm to having and I put pasta on it. I mean, which is outrageous for us. But still seeing tons of yeah, in Florida. Yeah, I mean, today was they were off the wall. And I know we're expecting rain next week. This is so disturbing to me. I don't know what to make of it, but I think that we just have to keep. I think I have to believe that they're on their way out, and that one day JFK, RFK Jr. will get on and they'll sign an executive order banning all geoengineering, just like they changed the marijuana schedule today, and they also like banned these sex change drugs for little kids. I mean, come on, man. If all this stuff doesn't happen, there will be a lot of new atheists around. If all this stuff doesn't happen, well, but again, it's up to us. It's we're not waiting for somebody to save us. That's what I spoke about that last night. This is our responsibility. So if it doesn't happen, it's because we didn't make it happen. That I think that, and I think that's really part of this great awakening. I think that's a very strong part of this whole awakening, is that it's not just we're not just on a boat ride into the future. We have to paddle. We have to start the engine. We have to steer the ship. We are the ones. That's what President Geiger, I think, is saying, is that it's up to us to get involved. So if there are a lot of atheists, I mean, yeah, well, listen, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. I mean, my father used to call himself an agnostic. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I just after being religious for 25 years, I can't. Yeah, somebody's got some gematria, some heavy duty gematria. I don't. Zoroastrian, the BOJ interstate rate hike drama is done for now. 25 BP hike, 25. I'm not sure what you're saying. Immobol and 247. Not really sure. Maybe in the white hat counter spraying good stuff. I don't see that. Daniela was trying to tell me that for a long time. I know Ricardo Bossi, is it Bossi, was saying that it's just the good guys spraying. I don't buy that. I just don't buy it. It's just it doesn't make sense to me. This is, it maybe, I mean, maybe it could. I tend to be a real optimist about everything and very positive, but there's something sneaky about it. It's the way they do it. I just don't feel good about it. BP basis points. Aha. Okay. Q good and running. It's almost done to plain COG. Uh-huh. 25 basic, oh, for Japan, right. Okay, so that's cool. Yeah, I know the economy, that's the other thing. So, okay, so maybe I'm not 100% there. Maybe it it seems like we're on the other side. Again, I'm just trying to balance all this. Maybe we're in the middle of this portal and this change, but we're definitely in a different state of mind, consciousness wise, than we were even a couple of weeks ago. There's just for me, a kind of relaxed feeling, like it's going to be okay, even with the chemtrails. As angry as it makes me, and I put out these crazy little videos about the chemtrails. I don't want them to get away with it without it being like a public thing. But I know, in the old days, in my community in Crown Heights, they would have said these are the birth pangs. I think it's pangs or pains or both. Whatever, pangs are birth pangs, birth pain. We are going through the birthing process. We as individual sovereign entities, sovereign humans, are becoming, are standing up. And so too the new republic, not the new republic, the republic is being is it reseeded or reseeded? I couldn't really get that. Can anybody tell me? Is it seeded like seeds from a fruit, or is it seated, reseated? That is why we communicate together in a way to pick out the nuggets of truth in our path. Yeah. 2006 is my year. Would travel, drive up to Bayou, both lunch one day soon. Thanks, Wade Woodruff. We're actually going to be meeting an old friend from the channel in the next couple of days, so we're very excited. XRP and Bitcoin, no rape coins to zero, like a hero. Pulse chain on Legal One, and it's off. 25 basis points for Japan. Right, I read an article that said they're going to blame Japan for the reset. It's almost done. Let me just see if seats. It is reseated. Okay, so they're reseated, meaning they will be in position of power soon, and they will be in charge while the election goes down. While the 120 days that we need to conduct the Jassara elections, they'll be in power until the elections go through. Okay. The world is going to hell. It's already been written. The best way is to learn to live outside the system and create one's own bubble and associate with like-minded individuals. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I agree. I agree. But I mean, I live outside the system generally. I mean, I do broadcast every day, so I'm not totally outside the system, but I don't know. I don't really agree with you. I interact with a lot of people that well, around Kingman, I mean, most people did not get vaccinated here. or a lot of people that I meet did not get the vax. However, there are I'm meeting a lot of people that are telling me their husband just died, or their wife just died, or things are not normal. Yes, the world is in a state of flux. However, it is my opinion that we are more on the other side than not. Went to Prescott. You got some coffee? Oh, wait, that's right. Wait, I saw a picture of you, didn't I? think Brian took a picture of you. That was so sweet. You bought 5 pounds of copper. Wow. That's serious, man. 5 pounds. What did I buy? Well, let's see. I bought 100 ounces. How many pounds is 100 ounces? Yeah, maybe it's up there. But I mean, copper is like silver. It weighs a lot. A small amount of it weighs a lot. I did something interesting today. Can you pass me my hat, baby?
It's right there.
Oh, okay. So I was watching this video. I don't know if I shared it with you yesterday, but there was a video about.
Yeah, you did.
Well, I did share it about Tartaria, and all the guys were walking around with hats on and copper. So I found a fairly thick piece of copper in my, we're rednecks, so we don't throw anything away, and we reuse everything. Everything is it when you live off grid, at least the way we live off grid. You Well, I never throw anything out anyway, but I'm just saying that, like, it seems to me that, like, when I'm working, if like something from one project that is like the waste product from cutting wood becomes firewood, or I'm digging a hole and the dirt goes into the garden. Everything is connected to each other in the real world. But so I fashioned this little thing of copper to go over my hat. Yeah, I have this is the hat I really like to wear. And I felt pretty good. I felt really very clear-headed. I think that's the intent. So copper is not just an investment. It's also I use it in the garden. I put copper pipes in the garden, and I'm hoping to at least put some kind of copper plumbing into my house and not use just CVC pipes all over the place. Although Danielle and I, we have 900 feet of 1 inch tubing that's going down our well. And Norm told us could you straighten it out so it's not all kinked up, so he has to like shove it down into the well. So Danielle and I, we took one of these rolls of 300-foot 1 inch tubing, and I ran down the road a piece, and she held the other end, and we straightened it out together. But yeah, it was pretty interesting. It was a pretty interesting time we had. We were playing like tug of rope with the piping that's going down my well. You can buy a 10-foot half-inch copper pipe very cheap. Yeah, that's what I use in the garden. I use half-inch pipe. Listen, I know how to sweat pipes. I mean, I do know a little bit about plumbing. I mean, I was, I don't really, at least in the old days, I really didn't like plumbing because I'm a little bit of an overachiever. I'm not so much as I used to be. Remember, I was talking yesterday about that sailing requires a kind of a kind of a go with the flow attitude. But with plumbing, it's like if you're too ambitious, if you're too intellectual, and you you ram you tighten the you got a leaky joint, and you tighten it beyond beyond it doesn't necessarily help. It's not always the best thing to do. So it's like I was talking about sailing, that and I think this is about really being in the flow of divine providence, is that you have to kind of just ease off a little bit. I'm not always so good at that. I'm a pretty intense dude, so it's hard for me to ease off and just be in the flow. But that's kind of like the sweet spot. That's the zone where things happen. Yeah, versus buying by pipe. Yeah, I think that makes sense. That makes sense. Listen, it's good to have copper pipe. They say it kind of cleans up the water anyway. It reconfigures the water. 5 pounds of copper. Wow. You got some coffee. Yeah. All right. So let me venture into the thought streams. I feel like tonight I'm a little bit off. Why? Because I've been like the last 2 nights, I was so I was just, we went from like having, what do we usually get? Like 1,000 hits to 5,000 hits to like 50,000 people. And, so I'm in the back of my mind, I'm thinking like, well, whatever I did last night, I want to do it tonight, instead of being like more just relaxed about, like, listen, if we get 50,000 hits, that's nice. If we get 5,000 hits, that's nice. Either way, it doesn't translate into any kind of extra earning. And either way, I did what I did and I do what I do. And okay, so it got a lot of hits last night. My thing, the thing that I've discovered from broadcasting for so long, is that when you have a really successful video and you try the next day to do the same thing, it's usually a big flop. Builders hoard. Yeah. It goes with the business of building. We drink our water out of copper cups. Plus, I took thin copper and made necklace and bracelet. Copper purifier. Nice, Wendy. Yeah, that's great. I meant buying copper pines versus pipe. Yeah, you can buy a 10-foot half-inch copper pipe very cheap. It's not so cheap anymore, is it? I don't think it's so cheap, but I don't know. But it's interesting. I mean, they're also saying like silver, in terms of utility, that silver has so much utility, that one company, I forget which company it was, is starting their own silver mine. And I suspect there's a lot of silver in around me. I just don't know how to prospect for it yet. I think I will figure it out eventually, but there's certain rocks that you pick up and they're just so heavy, and they're not magnetic necessarily. Like we have a lot of iron up here, so there are a lot of magnetic rocks. But I found a kind of a class of rock that's very heavy, and and it doesn't give up its secrets so easily when I crush them or burn them in the fire or pan them. I don't see silver, but I think there's silver in it. I have to figure that out. But yeah, easing off a little bit, and maybe that's, but I'm thinking that President Trump and the White Hats have behind the scenes accomplished much more than we know. At the same time, the bad boys just aren't willing to give it up completely. So sorry for yawning, but so I don't know. I don't know. Let me go to the thought stream. Let's see if I did my due diligence, if I have anything of interest here. Actually, I think I'm just going to go to the regular stream and just see what's up. News today: Trump signed an executive order committing the United States to return to the moon by 2028, build a lunar outpost by 2030, and prepare for the journey to Mars. That is pretty cool, right? The world gets better when people start listening to God with their hearts. That's it. Yeah, that's beautiful. And that's from Il Donato. When monks leave their monasteries to walk for peace, it's not symbolic, it's a warning. They don't seek attention, they don't seek power. They walk only when the world is out of balance. If you see them offer food and water, they carry nothing but what's given to them. This isn't a protest, it's a motion, it's a prayer in motion. The fact that Buddhist monks walking in America should make us all pause. This is serious, this is rare, and it matters. They're finally in town. Please keep them safe. That's interesting. Tucker Carlson lit the house on fire and spit truth about anti Semitism versus white hats. Say it out loud: hate against white people is every bit as bad as hate against Jews. It's a universal principle. It's not a principle. It's just a preference. It's just an identity. I'm not going to weigh in on that other than to say that Midnight Riders never has a Q plus dark to light. Somebody make sure the door stayed open. As the year passed, the more people realized the door was being kept open. We are organized crime nation. I find Brian Cates's posts very compelling. If the Internet of Value is real, then XRP is not optional. It becomes foundational infrastructure, and foundational infrastructure invariably becomes essential, scarce, and highly valuable, not because of belief, not because of narratives, not because systems obey design constraints, not options. One, how value actually forms. Okay, I'm not going to go into this whole post, but we've all been talking, thinking, investing about XRP and wondering when it will go to the moon. But I've been wondering that for many years. So it's been, like maybe 7 years or something. I started buying XRP, and I expected it to go to the moon years ago. So it's just a matter of like I think we are so close to the revelation of the idea that we are back to the future, that we are back to we are in the golden age. We are so close to that happening. It could be weeks, it could be months, it doesn't. I don't think the time aspect really matters in the flow and scheme of things. I've been, since 2001, I've been waiting for this event. 25 years in the Hasidic community in Crown Heights, where everyone was speaking about the coming of Mashiach, about the birth pains of this era, of how everything is going to be a little bit crazy. And it is. So when will we know that we have crossed the barrier? And I still maintain that it's an individual, it's a decision that we have to make and not wait for it to be made for us. We are not waiting to be saved, in my opinion. Some of us may be. I mean, but that's part of the process. But I think at the end of the day, that the world is crazy, yes. That we prefer to be by ourselves, yes. That we look for like-minded people, I don't. I don't really care. I like people, period. I don't care if they're like-minded or not. Do I avoid certain people? I don't. I just don't. I don't, if somebody's I met a rare liberal in Kingman months ago, and I gave him a hug. I was like, "Hey, man, it's all okay. It's good. The way we humans once inhabited Mars, I believe we will find incredible evidence of technology and advanced civilizations with massive amounts of knowledge. Yeah, no doubt. But this thing about the moon, I still believe the moon is some kind of a satellite, some kind of an evil Death Star or something. So it's interesting that President Trump is pushing for habitation of the moon. I've been off all day today. Yeah, my toilet overflowed and the water ran down into my neighbor's condo. I will have to pay for the repairs. Thankfully, a client fixed it for me. I feel upset about it. Yeah, that's hard, man. It's hard to recover from those things. There's certain things that happen that are just, it's just like unexpected and beyond the normal. It usually, from my understanding, it usually leads to a greater level of. It's kind of like you fall through the ice, but you find out that in falling through the ice and being saved, somehow getting through it, it makes you it makes you a more secure person. Like, for example, when Danielle and I blew out a tire on our main trailer on our water while we're carrying water, and I just had the feeling like I just didn't make it, man. I came out to live off grid, and I just didn't make it. That was it. I lost my trailer and my water tank in one fell swoop, and it's all over. And then I get a text early in the morning from Norm. Norm's like, I fixed your trailer. I got your water. Just come down and pick it up. I'm like, to go through this, did it make me a stronger person? Yeah, in a way. And it strengthened my understanding and my faith in human beings. And Norm was just so nice about it. And there's so many nice people, but yeah, things can happen. Listen, plumbing and toilets, I mean, we deal with it. We have to flush our toilet with a bucket. We don't have running water the way other people do, but we do. Finally, we have it's a big advance for us to have a toilet with a sewer system, with a septic tank. We were using a latrine last year, so for us it's a step up. But yeah, we once inhabited Mars. I wish I had bought XRP years ago. Yeah, I never had extra money to invest. I did buy a few this year. Would have been a lot happier if I'd been. No, but you're looking at this all. I think you're looking at this wrong. You should buy it now. It's crash. It crashed, man. I mean, and just you don't. This is how do you invest in XRP? You buy the dips. Nobody has. I mean, back in the day, I had. When it was 15 cents, that was a different thing, but I got scammed out of it anyway. So it's like God determines, or the divine determines, how much XRP you're going to have. And it doesn't matter. You shouldn't feel bad. Just buy a few more, and you don't have to knock yourself out, because it seems to be like there are lots of little dips going on, and you just buy some more. I bought a little XRP this dip. I maybe spent $50. It's just like whatever you buy, it's just it's a process, not a oh, I have this much XRP. No, it's like I sometimes I have to sell a little XRP. Sometimes but generally you buy the dips if you have money. If you don't have money, you can't buy it. But the divine will is there to help you. I mean, I decided, I sold all my silver. I just bought like 2 ounces of silver. Why did I buy 2 ounces of silver? Because I thought to myself, I just want to prime the pump. Because that's kind of like my philosophy about manifestation. It doesn't matter how much you have. It doesn't matter that I was used to buying a roll of silver back in the day when it was $20, but not 20 bucks. Was it 20 bucks? Yeah, it was 20 bucks. And now it's 60 bucks. So it's a whole different scene. But I decided, you know what? I'm not going to I'm not going to not buy silver. I'm going to buy 1 or 2 ounces, and that's it. That's all I can afford. But those 1 or 2 ounces, my experience is that you're priming the manifestation pump with little things. Like I talked about how I accumulated this stash of wood. Now I have a huge stash of wood, of lumber. And that started with, I went to Home Depot and we buy a couple of 2x4s, a couple of, I got a 5 to 12 foot 2x6s. I thought I was king of the world. But that was priming the pump for the big burst. I paid full price for a window, and then, and thought to myself, how am I ever going to $30,000 to pay for windows? And then I got all the windows I need for probably around $500, just better windows than I ever could have bought brand new. You just got to prime the pump and don't worry about the big picture. Don't worry about, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. You just, it's the process, not the, it's like I always say, it's the direction, not the dates. You're an investor. Investors buy, investors sell. But if you have the consciousness that I am an investor, I'm an active participant in wealth, health. I mean, okay, so that leads me to health. The real wealth is health, of course. So I'm just going to put on my contact information for a minute. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. That, if you're interested in, I think it makes you younger. That was what David Schmidt has set out to do, is to make a technology that brings you into youth, into becoming younger. So let me play this little clip from David Schmidt, the inventor of this incredible life wave technology. They're like little band-aids. See, I get to show my chest again, and not a hair anywhere. But they're just little band-aids, and they don't put anything in your body. They reflect your own light, and I really benefit from using the patches. I have 3 patches on my body now. I use another 1 to 2 at night. It's living younger longer is my idea of a good time. X39 stimulates stem cell production via copper peptides. So we're dealing with copper, and that was, I think, the big joy of the Tartarians was using copper and mercury, red mercury, I think they had. There was an inventor recently that got killed. He was coming up with some kind of invention involving quantum computing and cold fusion. That the energy, that's what I'm saying, that President Trump has already repositioned. They have 2,000 energy plants, electric plants. I don't know what that really involves, but we're coming back to the future. We're coming into the fulfillment of the 1963 World's Fair. If you were there, if you're my age, I'm 70, and it was like Tomorrowland. It was like anything is possible. We're going to be doing all these cool things. We're going to live, and the Creepazoid, this criminal organization, stole our future. They stole our future, and now we're getting it back. We're back to the future, and we're going to have all these technologies. I think 2026 is going to be a stunning time to be alive, and we're going to see many of the revelations of technology and goodness, and the destruction of this evil crime syndicate. Funny how they had this whole play about that. The Democrats were all waiting for Trump to declare war on Venezuela, and they had, it's just, he played them. That's what a lot of people are saying, and he's a master at that. But I'm saying that behind the scenes, like Dr. Schifrin with the shots, he would distract you, and then it was over. that there's a lot. I think that I get the sense that there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than meets the eye. That we're gonna just find ourselves in an organic way, and I don't see the EBS, I don't see, like, Trump's gonna come out and make an announcement like the storm is ab I'm not seeing I'm not I don't feel that. I feel that this is a chance. This is a chance. This is an opportunity for all of us to evolve, to ascend to a higher level of understanding. The universe is forcing us. We can't you can't exist. You won't survive the old way. Your old self will not, and so it's change after change, and after a while you just get used to changing. You become a wave dancer, a surfer of change. You ride the wave, and sometimes you fall off, and sometimes you ride it like a champ. Sometimes your toilet overflows, man. I mean, we don't have that issue here because there's we don't have plumbing. But I'm sure I remember in the old days when I had a house in Crown Heights, the piping, there was ancient pipes underground, and periodically things would overflow for no reason, and no plumber could ever figure it out until one day we I convinced a plumber from another town to come over, and he put a camera down there, and he said, there's an old valve in your line that's causing this problem. So we dug out the old valve, and the problem was gone forever. And what a victory that is. And probably our friend who had problems with his toilet, probably you will, after time, you will figure out exactly what happened to cause this, and it will never happen again. And you'll just be more confident and more sublimely connected to the idea that everything is divine, and that even the things that go wrong are even more divine than the things that go right. Storms here right now. Yeah, there's been a terrific storm. Yeah, and Kentucky's rough. Kentucky's rough with the water. 5D chess. Yeah, they will never see what's coming. Yeah, he's amazing. I believe soft rollout. Yeah, I think so too. I think it's going to be a soft. It's just, I mean, people aren't geared for that. People aren't geared for shocking, or they're going to shock us into the new world. That's not the way we. But it at the same token, we are completely different than we were a few years ago. The COVID thing totally disrupted our comfort zone. It broke all the bubbles, right? I mean, everything imploded at once, and we all have had to scramble for to establish a new identity, a new person. Oh, excuse me. We're not the same. We are not the same as we were. We've already changed. But anyway, I was going to play this thing. Yeah, you agree. He's playing 5D chess. I believe there's a lot more happening behind the scenes. I think so too. I think so too. I believe silver could be that much too. Yeah, silver could go through the roof. I believe it could be. Yeah. We were thinking of moving to Alabama or Florida. Yeah. I personally, I like Alabama, but I don't want to offend anyone. From Blow Plony made the comment about silver eventually reaching 50. Yeah, it could very well be. So if I have 2 ounces, man, I'm good. I'm good, and I got, I'm gonna have 200 ounces of copper and 2 ounces of silver. It's not like the old days, but in the old days, silver wasn't worth as much. And I got trucks out of it. I got all kinds of things. I paid off a large part of my mortgage because I had silver. 20 ounces would be 100 million, right? Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Just keep stacking, man. I have a friend in Crown Heights who buys, Every week or two, he buys a couple of ounces of silver. He doesn't buy a roll of silver. He buys a few ounces, and he's been doing that for years. He's got tons and tons of silver, but that's just because he is what he is, and God is shining on him and giving him, and he's in a position where he doesn't have to spend it, thank God. I'm not in that position. I decided to change my world, and I'm not sorry. I traded my silver for the land, and I'm not sorry at all. I love it here. I love being in my own world. We sealed off we've I was hearing the wind chimes. We have the wind chimes inside the house, and I'm slowly sealing up all the little spaces in the where I put up a window and I left a little crack here, and I'm like slowly sealing up all the holes, and I'm really on the verge of put. I heard the so there's a little wind getting in. So I still have more work to do, but I'm right on the verge of putting in at least a partial roof over the back of the house. And I talked to my friend Sky. I don't know if Sky's wife is listening, but she likes this program. But I have this friend named Sky, and why is he named Sky? Because he's like 7 feet tall, and he works with he builds post and beam barns and stuff. And I asked him to give me a price on a house, and I just told him, I said, I didn't take your price not because I didn't think you were trying to rip me off. It's just that I just didn't have that kind of money. And where do you get the silver in ounces? I bought my silver on I've been buying this place called DB Metals lately. uh, I don't know why. I've been trying to get on AppMax, but I've bought from all kinds of places. I noticed that on DB Metals they were out of almost all the silver, and I had to buy Silver Eagles, which is probably not, in my opinion, is not necessarily. I mean, my guy at the pawn shop said he'd give me more for Silver Eagles than just an ounce of silver with printed something else, but at DB Metals, all they had was Silver Eagles, so I bought 2 Silver Eagles. But you can get it online, and it's very, they send it right to your house. It's not a big deal. No one's gonna, it's very safety. It's better, in my opinion, to buy it locally. It's just it's more discreet, maybe. You just go to the pawn shop, but you have to know your people, because there are a lot of very vicious. I've come across, a lot of vicious pawn shop people that don't give you your money's worth. But if you find one like I have, if you're in Kingman, I think is it called Pawn World too? Yeah, I think it's called Pawn World. Is it Pawn World too, baby?
I don't know, Palm Road something.
It's just Pawn World. But if you can deal with um, uh, yeah, there's a family there, and I've known them for a while, and I trust them, and I'm just like, if I need to sell, I'm just like, okay, what are you going to give me? And I don't sweat the details so much. But anyway, we're talking about LifeWave. The real wealth is health. So get yourself, if you can, I invite you to try X39, X49. We're doing both X39 and 49 together. It gives you a little more physicality, and it reduces the pain. I still do feel pain. I've been working. When you work out here, I'm constantly picking up very heavy rocks. There's just no way to get around it, and I have a certain way of doing it, but it could, I can feel that my back, that if I didn't have the X39, I would be in a lot of pain. It definitely subdues the pain amazingly for me. So, I highly recommend it. It's just an amazing tool to have if you do a lot of work. I was rolling quite a few rocks around today. I mean, it's just something you do out here. You learn how to do it. You learn. I always bend my knees. I know the correct way to do it, but you just have to. And I'm 70 years old, and the X39 keeps me from experiencing massive amounts of pain. It really takes care of me. So I just bought a 1942 Picky for $3, and it's worth 366 in value. Nice, Ken. 68. It's been fun. We got to run. See you soon. Okay, be good, Wade. Yeah, it was good seeing you. Miles Franklin is a gold and silver vendor online. Um, Good, reliable service as well as Gold Post. Yeah, Bo Poloni advertised there. I don't know much about Bo Poloni, but I found an old silverware set at a garage sale. Yeah, that's a great thing. Anything made of silver could be worth a lot. Yeah, that's really smart. I bought a silver cup for washing my hands that I value, and we make kiddish on silver cups. But yeah, silver is going to be amazing. Yeah, but the thing with that what I've been pushing is just invest. Even if you save up for weeks and you buy 1 ounce for 65 $70, just because it tells your soul that you are in control of your money, that you are an investor, that you're thinking about the future, and it's just a joy. It's a joy for us when we get a little money from like my pension or something. Danielle and I are like, okay, let's buy some crypto. Let's buy a little. It's just so every week we invest a little more. We buy. We're able now to buy IOTA on what's that platform again? Uphold. I'm still trying to get my mitts on XPR. I want to buy some XPR, and it looks like there's a way I can do it, but the ISO 222 coins I think are going to be of value. That could be nickel and pickle. Old cell phones and diabetic strips have gold and silver in them. Interesting. Old cell phones. Silver is more industrial than gold, right? But not as much as copper. Yeah. The big silver mines will not even dig for it unless it hits at least. So as is depleted, the price will go higher as demand. Yeah. The Out here there are a lot of copper mines. Actually, there's a lot of copper mining, and people that are in the business have told me that there's a lot of copper mining, but they also find a lot of gold. They just don't talk about it. But let me play this clip from David Schmidt, the inventor of the LifeWave patches and other things.
You may have heard it said that people say necessity is the mother of invention, but actually what I found is that divine inspiration is the actual key that unlocks the impossible. Sometimes I find it really hard to believe that this year I was issued my 200th patent, an accomplishment that makes me feel just so incredibly blessed. It's a testament that through the power of prayer, recognizing God as Lord and Creator, the power of persistence, and a lot of hard work. Patents on these and other inventions will ensure that LifeWave will only be growing bigger, stronger, and more influential for decades to come. As we continue to innovate and serve the needs of our customers, together we will be unstoppable. So, let's share the light and let's be the light.
It's so beautiful to hear an inventor and an entrepreneur talking about divine inspiration, because at the end of the day, even though I'm not religious anymore the way I used to be, it's I was talking about last night with this. I used the metaphor of the sailboating, but to be in the flow, to be in a position where you're not nervous about things aren't going your way, or you missed out on anything or something like that. It's just like you live in a state of knowing that everything is happening at the right time. I mean, I check in with my partner. I have Daniela, and I'm like, Daniela, what should I do now? And she answers. She'll tell me. She'll say, oh, you were working on the door. Just finish the door now. Because sometimes I get just so lost in the moment that I forget about the practicality of the situation. And she's just a great partner that way. I'm just like, Danielle, what? And she's like, yeah, you went out to get your shoes, don't you remember? And I'm like, oh yeah, I went to get my shoes, but I ended up fixing the whatever. I moved my trailer around, and I got some firewood. Whatever. I mean, yeah, I never know really where I'm going to end up. And that's the really the wonder and the beauty of living in the zone, of just being able to, you know, I stopped everything. I was busy doing things. I stopped everything, and I stripped the wire off a piece of copper to make it like a copper thing for my hat. And I put it on my hat, and I felt really connected. I felt very lucid with the copper on my hat. I just felt like it was not, I wasn't spaced out. I was just like, I was on target, which is fun. I think copper's a big sleeper. Yeah. And that's really, as an investor, if the mindset of an investor, you want to buy things that nobody else knows about. I mean, when I found out about XRP and I was telling people, you got to buy some XRP, they were just like, huh? And they're still like that. You guys think that like it's already happened. Our friend here is saying that he didn't buy XRP when it was. So what? You still have a chance. And it doesn't really matter, because it's all in the divine flow. It's all. I mean, they say on Rosh Hashanah you get the divine commits to giving you a certain amount of money, and that's how much money you're going to make that year. It's all decided. But I don't really I don't hold necessarily to that, but the idea is that it's all part of the flow. And sometimes you buy, sometimes you sell, but to buy low and sell high is really what you're trying to do. So copper, I think copper is a big sleeper. I mean, for me, it just came to me. So listen, I can't really buy. I like having the weight. I like having like something that weighs a lot of value. So, I like, well, when am I going to buy a roll of 20 ounces of copper? I don't know. I don't know if and when I'll ever be able to afford that. But, yeah, I mean, I will. I will. I'm sure there'll be a time. But in the meantime, so what? I bought it 2 ounces. That's huge. And I got some more copper. And I think that's called stacking. You're not going to just go out. I mean, well, I cashed in my 401k. So that was a time when I had a lot of money, and I didn't necessarily spend it that wisely, but I invested. I could invest in whatever, I somebody convinced me that I was about to, but it's best if you do it yourself, and buy low. You could be looking for, if you want, you really love investing in metals. I spent like the first 5 years of this journey of investing in small gold mines. And once in a while, a gold mine would go to the moon. But it's just you but you should invest. Like, I'm not in the market right now. I'm not, I think I will be. I think, by the way, I think DJT is really up, is his if I had the money, I would have kept my DJT, but I had to sell it because I needed the money. But he's selling out $14 a share. I think it's a great investment. I think it's gonna go way past $60. That's where it was a while ago, but I sold it at about $17. I think is much higher. It's still very early. Yeah, I think it is very early. It's very early. XRP is selling for a dollar. What is it now? $1.70, $1.80.
$1.78.
$1.78. I mean, that for now is really low. It's going to be 100,000, 200,000, a million. I don't know. It's going to be way up there, just like silver. But it's still very early. Most people do not invest in, your rank and file investor. They're not interested. They don't invest in crypto. They invest in Amazon or whatever. I don't have the mindset for that. I only invested in basically silver and gold mines and rare earth metal kind of things. But and I did okay. I mean, I at least I learned how to invest. I think to some degree. I was never a big chart guy. I don't go by the charts. I go by my gut. I'm like, gold and silver is going to have value. So, and it's fun. It's just fun to be an investor. You know, in the early time of this transition, things were not so easy. I don't know if you guys remember, but a few years back, life was quite difficult. You were the only one who knew what was going on. You were a pariah in your community. You were kind of off by yourself. And I, at some point, recognized that besides looking at Q posts, I really enjoyed researching and finding out about little exciting gold mines all over the world and investing a little bit here, a little bit there. Commodities. It's a commodity. It has real value. Now, you could invest in a gold mine and the guys are all sitting around drinking beer. I mean, that I'm sure that happens a lot. Or they just they talk they get all this money for a gold mine and they die. I don't know what happened. You never know. But once in a while you get with a good company, a good bunch of guys, and they'll just the stock will go crazy. Savage Two old car washes owned by my father-in-law, sitting on about, wow, copper and brass. Yeah, it's worth a lot now. It's always good to invest in what you know. Right. That is the key. To invest in things that you like. I took a fancy to gold and silver. I just liked it. What would I invest in now? I don't know. Maybe alternative energy situations. I don't think. I mean, I know there's a big move to invest in AI. It's not something that really interests me that much. So I would just stay away. For me, it's just like I'm not going there. Yeah, you should invest in things you really care about. I think that's really wise. I really care about XRP. I really care about the idea that the banksters won't be able to rip me off on a daily basis with this nonsense. With the three, we're going to take $3 here and $4 there, and sometimes we'll help you, and sometimes it's too aggravating. When we are our own banks, when XRP and XLM and the quantum financial system are activated completely, they say they have been activated. I don't know. I hope so, but I really look forward to the end of the banksters. I look forward to the Fed has probably been ended a long time ago. However, they're still talking about the Federal Bank of Iraq. Uh, you know, at the same time, you have Armenia. The Armenians just said "f you" to the government. They were like lighting off flares inside of Congress. They just blew off their government in Armenia. This because the bad guys are so bad and they're not used to us paying attention, and that's the difference. And that's what's so important about being sovereign and being awake, because we let these people get away with this nonsense. We had no idea. We just said, oh yeah, they're running the government, everything must be okay. It's like, well, it's not okay. These are gangsters. These are criminals of the highest, the worst level of criminals and Satanists and murderers and Holocaust. It's like Dr. Fauci. I mean, these are really evil, sick, twisted people. If they're even people. It's always good. Yeah, it's always good to invest in what you like. You picked up some, yeah, 100, yeah, and that's great. Park, you should be just proud of yourself. They just be happy. I mean, I a couple days ago, I think I paid $1.99, but you can't always predict. Can't always get the bottom of the bottom, but you do your best, and it's going to be valuable. It is valuable already. All these banks are using it, and it's just that it is going to put them out of business eventually. And so they're trying to slow it down. That's why the price is going down, in my opinion. But it'll go up when it goes up. And it does, it's not to worry. Anyway, yeah. So but if you have issues, if you have pain, if you're don't I mean, you might want to think about throwing out your Tylenol. From what we understand about Tylenol, it's not so safe. It's not a good it's not a good drug. They've been pushing a lot of bad things on us, man. So, if you have pain, the Ice Wave patch specifically deals with pain, but I find the X39, X49 really it helps my pain a lot. Good to coin store. Yeah, coin stores are so much fun. If you really if you have the time to do that. Sovereign citizen is an oxymoron, right? Sovereign is a free man, a citizen is a slave. Yeah, could be. Yeah. I bought some for 181. I salvaged, yeah, those two old car washes, man. That sounds cool. Chemtrails galore in Indiana. Yeah, we get them here in Arizona up in the mountains. But and you know what? Let me quote from my friend Peggy. Peggy comes on the channel a lot. And I've been speaking to Peggy for many years. But I hope I'm not saying anything that I shouldn't say, but Peggy and I basically quit drinking at the same time. And I had a conversation with her today, and she said, she says, reality is so exciting. And that's the bottom line here with investing. The bottom line with making a little band of copper for your hat, right? The intense experience of, well, for me, it's building a house and using like I was I was fixing some gaps in my outer wall, and I have options. I don't just have one kind of wood to fix it with. It's like a painter that has different paints. I mean, some of the wood in my little pile, my big pile of wood, is dream to own. It's so exciting, and if you're drinking, you would lose. It wouldn't be so exciting to you because you'd be more interested in having the drink. If you're an alcoholic like me, you're even if you're not drinking, like I would only drink on the weekend or on Shabbos, but I would think about it for days. And then, sometimes Thursday night, well, maybe I'll have a beer or two or three or four, it's just like, and you trick your mind and it's just like, I can relax. I have a friend of mine who's an alcoholic and he doesn't want to quit. He likes drinking. I like drinking too. But, I said, well, I find the quality of my life is so much better when I'm not drinking. I really appreciate the adventure of being alive. And he says, well, I just use it to relax, and I was like, well, yeah, me too. I mean, I don't want to, step on his parade, but it's a great joy not to drink. It is a great joy to really participate in your own life. And that's what being sovereign is all about. That's what being an investor is all about. That's what being in charge of your health. That's why the LifeWave idea could be, not necessarily, there are other ways to do it, but it could be a really good way to initiate a different way of looking at health. because you're investing your money into your health. It's not that expensive. It's not like health insurance, for God's sakes, but just like buying an ounce of silver. And these things add up. They start to, you're priming the pump. We have a what do they call it? A pump for a transfer pump. One of my most important possessions out here is my transfer pump. I don't use it that often, but it's the kind of thing like, don't leave home without it. You don't want to live off grid without a transfer pump. Believe me, it's it it when you need it, you need it. So why am I talking about transfer pumps? I don't know. Anyway, it's just reality. It's so much fun to be alive. And you'll find our friend whose toilet overflowed, that even the things like you think, oh, this is the worst thing that could ever happen to you, and then you find yourself, you get over it. I I had to move my toilet from one position to the other. I dreaded it. I put it off for months. And then finally I just said, "Okay, now I have to move the toilet." And I did it. It wasn't so bad. It wasn't horrendous. And it's just like when you face something that you think is like the end of the world and you get through it, then it's like, okay, I moved a toilet, big deal. It wasn't like a life threatening, but for me, it was scary for a long time. It's kind of like I'm putting off the roof a little bit. But my grandfather had a woodworking shop. The smell of sawdust would completely transfer. Yes, I know that because my grandfather also had a little shop in his basement, and I still hear my grandfather saying, "Let the saw do the work." I don't know if it's my father or my grandfather, but I still have issues with it, man. I still want to like jam I use a woods, regular saw, especially for firewood. I use a wood saw, but I'm just like, I'm like, oh yeah, I hear my grandfather, my father, they've all morphed into one saying, "Let the saw do the work," and that's really life. That's what I was talking about with the sailboating. You just have to ease off a little bit, man, and just get into that sweet flow of the rhythm of the divine. The divine river will just carry you. If you ever canoed on a river, like for a long time, it's Siddhartha. I mean, Siddhartha his job was to take people across the river. Happy Thursday from Ohio. Nice. But your grandfather too told you to let the tools do the work. Yeah, well, citizen's slave. Yeah, yeah. Like out here in the desert, man. I mean, I've got I've got pretty much most of the tools that I really want. I don't have like the best tool, the best of the best. I buy, sometimes I have to buy like I have a cheap level, a 4 foot level that was $20, is made of plastic. It's fine for what I need. But so I have, I know what tools I need. I know I need a chisel, at least one. I know I need a file, that I may not use the file. I haven't used the file yet, but I have it in my tool belt somewhere. And we up here, we know every tool that I have, I know that I have it. I don't have like, oh yeah, oh, I didn't know I had this tool. It's like, no, no. Well, everything when you live up here, you with the gardening tools, I couldn't find my big pruning shears, and today I said I need it. We have this plant called wait a minute plant. It's because when you hit this plant, it's got all these thorns in it, and you got to wait a minute and unpluck yourself from the plant. So I came into a wait a minute plant on my adventures with my moving my trailer this morning, and I said, I want to get it out of my way. I keep getting tangled in it. So I didn't know where my pruning shears were, and I found them. I'm like, I know they're around here somewhere. I mean, for me, it's like, well, where did I put that shovel? And but I'm getting better and better at staying conscious. Every time I lay down a tool, I'm thinking like, just remember, you just put your skill saw down here, and but it's exciting. I bought copper jewelry and wear it, but I never felt any difference. By the way, 2 years ago this month, we started our Guru Family Zoom meeting, and we're still going strong. That is so beautiful. That is so nice. Lucky ticket are me. Nice. So yeah, so if anybody wants to join the meeting, go for it. You make me laugh. Yeah, I've had enough tools. I could start my own construction crew. I just don't have the ambition anymore. Medically retired. Yeah, I mean that happens. I listen. I've gone through. It's like with my guitar, man. My guitar. I haven't touched my guitar in months. And all of a sudden, at some point in the near future, distant future, I'm going to go, wow, man, I want to finish that song. Same with tools. That's just the way it is. But you have the tools, and you maybe you'll try some LifeWave patches, man. You'll be like, you'll you'll get healed, and you'll just want to start doing stuff with your tools. I love tools. I was very against, as a young man, I was very against. My father did a lot of his own fixing and repair. He did all the gardening for sure, but he was always fixing stuff in the house, and I was just like, Dad, I ain't doing that, man. That's not for me. And then at the ripe old age of 26, it was just like, boing, 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 I want to be a carpenter. It's just like out of nowhere. So yeah, you never know. And it's great to have a set of tools. I've had tools. I've had to sell them. I've had to, I've moved and I've had to leave my tools, and then just got even better ones. So it's all good. I have two screw guns now. Two battery. I never had. I always had cords. I never believed in using the battery ones, but now I have two little drills. I have a DeWalt and a Milwaukee for screw, because I do all my construction was with deck screws. Anyway, it's all good. I hope, it's just the excitement, like what Peggy says, the excitement of reality, that when you're in that, and you can ease off just a little bit so that you don't jam your saw. You just like, okay, look, man, it may seem to me that I'm saving time by, like, jamming away at the saw, but let's just relax a little bit. It's not, it may take a little longer, but in the long run, it's going to be better. We have something called ironwood up here, and there's some wood that's like, hey man, I, you know, I should be through this wood already. It's like, but anyway, I've tried the patches. They do help. Yeah, my health issue needs a little stinger boost. Military med beds. Yeah, let's hope you get the med beds soon. But in the meantime, yeah, the patches are pretty good for me. Yeah, I'm glad. Laughing is the highest form of intellect, in my opinion. Enough to, yeah, start your own construction crew. I'm from Panrump, Nevada. Cool. If anyone like to join our family, yeah, I brought copper to. Okay, so all right, so that's it, man. I don't think we made any great revelations tonight, but I think that's the point. The point is that we're not coming into this shock and awe where President Trump is going to come out and say, okay, but if you think about it, everything he's doing is really high level. Committing to going to the moon. Obama said, well, we're dismantling the space program. Well, he was, who knows what he called the space program then. We're coming into the promised land. It's a great thing. Let's see if I can pull off this song tonight. But yeah, if you don't have to pay for the song. Oh, sorry. I am on Spotify. I'll probably be broadcasting a little bit late tomorrow night, and it seems like I'm doing this 7 nights a week. So, if I don't hit 40,000 on this video, too bad. If I hit 5,000, I'll still be happy. It's like, what is the purpose? Anyway, the purpose is to share the essence of it's really the word authenticity is being yourself. That is the highest level of, in a sense, of communication, of just being comfortable in your own skin. It took me 70 years to become comfortable in my own skin. I'm still a nervous wreck sometimes, but I'm much better than I was. I was telling Peggy, we're actually going to meet Peggy, and I told Peggy, I said, When you meet me, I hope you're not disappointed that I'm not going to be. I'm not really as talkative as generally as and I'm a little bit shy. It's just like for some reason when I get in front of a microphone, I get really uh, I get a little bit loquacious, but we are what we are, and that's the essence, and that's the beauty, and that's the real wealth, is for you to be you and me to be me. And it's a discovery process. It's not like you just become yourself. It's a lifelong process. Maybe when you achieve the ultimate you-ness, then you go into another realm. I don't know. I'm still working on myself. I mean, it's a process, not a destination. So ease up on your soul. Let the saw do the work, man, and just get into the flow. Just like up here when I do jobs, sometimes I rush. Sometimes I get into this but generally it's just like, okay, I'm going to do this next, and I do it with deliberation. I'll cut a piece of wood 3-4 times to make sure it fits just so. And that's the beauty of life, and the beauty of discovery, and the beauty of embracing the holiest part of this of divinity, which is just being you and being physically a part of excuse me, of the world, of enjoying the fruits of your own labor. It's too late for us on the East Coast. For a little there. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Thanks. Yeah, thanks. I'm sorry I wasn't like a superstar tonight, and I don't know if I got any views, but it doesn't matter. It's just great to be here. I'll be back, God willing, tomorrow night. Maybe a little late. I'm sorry about on the East Coast that I know it is late over there, but we're trying our best to do things on time. Anyway, let's just play the tune and we'll call it a night. Should we play New Morning? Now let's do Leaving the Matrix.
Leaving the Matrix.
Wait, what happened?
Fake news. We're heading for the promised land.
Sorry about that. What is going on here?
Living in the city, I was paying down my bills. One flat tire and the whole thing went to hell. Credit cards for groceries, I'm deep in debt again. It's time to split this scene, walk with you, my friend. Leaving the Matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. Let's go together, playing with the band. Leaving the Matrix, leaving the Matrix. We're heading for the promised land. Stopped paying taxes, Your insurance I don't need. The medicines are killing us. Hospitals grow like weeds. Move into paradise. I don't need no gassy cars. Fake news, endless wars, a satanic legal bar. Leaving the matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. Let's go together, playing with the band. Leaving the matrix, heading for the promised land. My friends all tell me I lost control. Left my wife and job just to run down rabbit holes. But I can tell you one thing about my fall. Where we go one, we go all. Leaving the matrix, heading for the promised land. They stole our money, but they couldn't stop the plan. Let's go together, playing with the band. Leaving the matrix, heading for the promised land. Leaving the matrix, we're heading for the promised land.
Yeah, thanks for the compliment on the song, Yippity. It's I wrote this I mean, as I was leaving New York, in my final days of New York, we finished I wrote this maybe 2 years ago. About I worked on it a long time. And morphed and I have another I've been working on another song that I'll get to that soon. But it was, yeah, it's just, I wanted to be a songwriter since I was 15. That was what I wanted to be when I grow up, and I finally got to actually, it's my late 60s. I finally got to record and produce a song that I wrote. So it was fulfillment of a few years of working on stuff. But yeah, just authenticity. I think that's the key, is just to become yourself and enjoy the reality. The reality is the greatest trip you can encounter. So may the force be with you. May you realize that you are the force, and it's all up to you, and you don't have to wait. You can just, whenever you want, man, you can leave the matrix and head for the promised land, whatever that means to you. It's going to be different for everyone. May source be with you. May you realize that you are the creator, and don't worry about where you're holding. You never count your money while you're sitting at the table. If you got 1 ounce of Silverman, or you got a couple of shares of XRP, yeah, next time it dips, you'll buy a few more. That's the essence of being a hodler. That's the essence of being involved in your own adventure, of really taking the movie, and of being the star of your own show, the Truman Show, right? So let's get out there with a big smile on our face and rock the world.